Welcome, guys, to my Love is Blind episode. Oh, wait, season 6, episode 10. I forgot we're in the 6th season. Recap and review. Netflix, you really just drug us in because the love is barely there now.
Is
Barely
there
there.
love? Is there any love?
I
I don't know
like
if I
AD and Clay. I like AD and Clay. I'm not hopeful after this episode. I'm just
eh,
not.
yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I don't know. We're obviously going to get into it, but I
Right.
don't know if he is ready to be the partner that she's looking for. And he's even said it many, many, many times. Like, I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to disappoint you. What that says to me is that he's probably going to disappoint her because
Yeah,
he's not going to say yes at the altar.
yeah. And we'll get into it, but I'm glad she let him know. Listen,
It's all or nothing. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so I think we did mention it like last week that we thought maybe they'll like continue after the experiment, but it's not
Seems
looking
like a no.
good. But
Well, or you know what? It seems like a no right now.
yeah,
Like, because I think she was slightly giving an ultimatum here, but being like, this is what I signed up for this show, and I
yeah,
want to follow through with what I agreed to when I put myself out there for this show. And
yeah,
so, if I didn't come here to get a boyfriend, and so I don't want a boyfriend after this. Maybe if that did end up happening and she still feels connected and that love for him, maybe she'll change her mind. But I'm happy that she put her foot down and being like, this is what I came here for. This is what I signed up for.
right.
And this is the agreement that I made to myself, the production, and to you. And I'm following through with it. I'm not taking a cop out here.
Right, and I'm asking you to do the same, and I don't think what she's saying is unreasonable. Like,
No,
but
no.
we'll get more into it. I, I so this episode, it's like I think two couples were mostly focused on, and then
Mm-hmm.
a little bit on the other two couples. But let's discuss Jeremy and Laura just to start.
Okay. I have a lot to say about Jeremy and Laura because Jeremy is complete like he doesn't like Laura. Okay, fine.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I don't feel after this episode. I don't feel like he likes her at all,
At
and
all.
not at all. Not in personality. Not like we were giving him a little bit, like, oh, maybe he liked her, but he got off put. But I don't think he likes her at all.
No. And
um.
you see him
Okay.
sitting talking with his mom,
Yeah.
and he's like there's like this tone of, I don't know if it's arrogance or like I'm better than her. Like he has this attitude about how, like, well, now that she's acting like this, I don't even want to be with her. And it's like, that's not what the issue is. It's not
No.
how she is responding to you right now. It's
Right.
about what you did to make her act that way. And it drives me crazy when people decide to choose your new actions that you are taking from something that they did in the past and
Right.
using that as a reason to judge them on whether or not you want to be in a relationship with them. I think it's
Right.
bullshit and it really irritates me. I'm happy his mom though was laughing, but like was still checking him, being like, well, like I'd be sitting there waiting for you to come to the door. Like, oh well, I wouldn't be doing that. And like,
Yeah.
so
Like
I was
she was like, "You're lucky." She's like, "You're lucky she's not me. It would have been worse." Like, no woman would have reacted nicely to what he did at all. And the fact that he lied about it, and the whole thing was he said exactly how I think I stated. I think it went. He came from the club with her. They were chatting. They decided, oh, they want to keep chatting, and that he was just going to give her a ride home because, come to find out, I was listening to another podcast, there is no parking lot at that club.
Well, he did say though, like, oh, it wasn't at the parking lot, it's like around the corner down the street or
Yeah,
whatever. And that's
down
what
the
she was
street at
like.
Sarah Ann's house.
Well, other people have said, like, we're speculating that because why did he keep on throwing out like, well, I gave you my location. I was at the parking lot. And she was like, well, your location also said that you're in North something, which is where the area where Sarah Ann lives. And so people were speculating that he left his phone in his car and went to Sarah Ann's house, but his Apple Watch tracked his actions. And so that's why he was actually caught in a lie. Like, I think he was maybe he was trying to really pretend that like, oh, we stayed in my car chatting, but when what really they went to her house. So I don't know what the truth is there, but that's what some people are speculating.
Okay. Either way, there was no parking lot. Either way, he lied initially. Either way, then he didn't really.
And someone that's lying with so much attitude.
That's what I'm saying. There was no condemnation about it. Like, oh, what did I do? There was just indignant. Like, he was just upset that she could even.
How dare she call me out on my lie? How dare she catch me in a lie and have a reaction? How dare she?
Rachel's here. Hi, Rachel.
Well, and also though with him, like his attitude, well, he had a girlfriend right before he came in, so he's not actually looking to get into a relationship with Laura or honor all these commitments and like go to the altar and get married. Like he's not even thinking that that's a possibility. So he's just probably trying to stick it in wherever he can, you know what I mean, in this experiment. I mean, like, I got these two women that are fighting over me, like I might as well bang them both since I'm not going to marry either of them. Well, he says he didn't have a girlfriend, right? In his like his indignant response on Instagram, right?
Every time he gets caught in something in real life and on
an attitude.
He has such an attitude. Well, I was single for weeks. Remember? Weeks. I was like, weeks.
I can't stand that man. I can't stand that man.
Listen, so his mom is like, so I guess I'm not gonna have a daughter-in-law. She seems sad about it because I don't know if she ever even really got to meet Laura. I don't know if that like would actually happen, but it sounded like
but they didn't show it.
Right. But it sounded like she talked to her at some point. So maybe like they had a phone call or a FaceTime or whatever. But she said that he needs to figure it out, like fix it or figure it out. And he says he didn't think that his actions would have lost him a fiance. That is the first, that like right there is a problem. You didn't think those actions, because probably you've done that and probably even more disrespectful shit to people that you didn't think that would lose you a fiance. That right there is the first problem.
Well, I don't think necessarily his actions would lose him a fiance, but it's how he handled the situation is what would lose him a fiance. The fact that he came in with his sunglasses on and he took it off like really rudely and kind of just like, oh, you want to see my eyes? Like he's just so disrespectful. And he doesn't realize that it's his disrespect that is losing him a fiance, that you didn't consider her feelings once. When you were coming with the truth, there was no apology and kindness and remorse for what she was feeling, being like, he like, nothing happened. I'm really sorry. It looks really bad. I get that. I drove her home. We just talked some things out. We talked about you a lot and about how I really am happy with you or whatever, And it should be fine. You know what I mean? She would probably be like, okay, that really sucks. But you know what? You came honestly and you kind of explained your feelings and you really took my feelings into consideration. It's the fact that he has no regard for her feelings, for their relationship, for their engagement, for the show, like none of that. Like he does not care about any of those things. It only matters to him how he's being treated by Laura, who's responding to him being such an asshole. Oh man, like you'd think that he was a 10. You would think that he was a 10. You would think that he's a 6 and he has so much fucking attitude. Sorry. Like he's a 6. A 6. And like that's like because he has a nice place, which apparently it's like a a show home. It's not even his place, apparently. I don't know. But it's like for him to be a 6 and have the audacity. What does Miss T Joy says? Yeah, the audacity must be free because it's just going around
The
everywhere.
one thing men will always have is audacity.
Yeah.
Period. And he has a lot. So yeah, they are like at this point on pause, and we will get to them in the final section of this episode. Next, who we want to talk about?
First of all, in order, Jimmy and Chelsea were next.
Jimmy and Chelsea. So Jimmy and Chelsea meet with Jimmy's family, which is Janet, his mom, Donna, his sister, and James, his dad. And I mean, they had a great conversation. They talked kids, they talked communications. I think they glossed over a lot of the things that have happened. They said they had fights, but they were deal breakers. And that they're on the same page. And I was like, are you guys really on the same page? Because that's not what I'm seeing. But that is how they are portraying things to his family. And Jimmy does say to his family, they know he dates intentionally, that he, would not be going through this and bringing Chelsea here to meet him if he really did not believe like she was going to be his wife, or the person he marries, and that he's been single for 2 years, and that like this is serious for him. And I was like, damn, like this is really, like, even his mom said that she can see that the experience has opened him up.
And
And
maybe even to be talking about his feelings and telling
yeah,
them how he feels about this woman. Now,
yeah,
I don't personally believe that he has truth behind his words and his
mhm,
feelings. Like he's saying the right things, and
mhm,
I appreciate him saying the right things. And his family's like, oh my god, like you're saying all these right things. This is amazing. Like you really love this woman, etc.,
mhm,
etc. But I think what the issue is, and why
mhm,
Chelsea always is overreacting, is
mhm.
because she doesn't feel it.
Yeah,
And I don't think that he actually is in love with her in
no,
the way that he wants his words to convey. And I
yeah,
think that that's what the issue is here with them, is that I think he's willing to go with the process. I think he's even willing to maybe even marry her, but
mhm.
I don't think that he actually loves her in the way that he wants his words to convey.
Yeah, I think he has convinced himself that like, you go into this process
Poor
and
guy.
I know, and you think, shit, like this is supposed to be it. Like this, I did all this, and yeah, it's gonna be work. I've seen his parents were married for 43 years. You cannot tell me he didn't see struggles and arguments and whatever. So maybe his dad has said, oh well, I didn't like your mom at this point. She did this, or
Because she's
so
a
maybe
pack rat.
yeah.
Apparently she's a pack rat.
So I think maybe he probably feels like what he's feeling, like the doubts and the confusion and the fact
That's
that
normal.
right, like that he really doesn't want this with her is normal. It's just fear or doubt or whatever, but it
Yeah.
will clear up once they're married. But what the issue is he does not love her, he does not want her, and he has resigned himself to continue in the process. And I feel like he did the same thing with Jessica. Once he found out Jessica had a baby or a girl or daughter, whatever, he did the same thing, continue in the process, knowing fully well, mentally and behind the back of his head, that he was never going to propose to that girl. She was never going to be the one for him, because he was not prepared to do that. He was not prepared to be a stepdad, especially to a 10-year-old. He was not prepared to propose to somebody in an alternate family than he probably envisioned, right? And I agree, because of that behind the head doubt that he actually has, he will never be able to convince Chelsea. First of all, because he really doesn't believe it. And second of all, because Chelsea will never believe it, because she's so fucking insecure.
Well, now I wonder, I don't know for sure, if he actually did love her, if she would be more secure. You know what I mean? Like if like she's choosing people that aren't fully loving her, right? And so
Yeah.
she thinks by being like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you got to show me, you got to do this, you got to do, and you have to do this now, and you have to do this, and no, you have to do this more. And like, she thinks that all these things are going to actually make her feel whole. We know the fact that she has to love herself, and then she doesn't need the love from anybody else to make her feel whole. We know that that's also the case here. But like, I wonder if he did truly love her in that way, if she would actually feel it. I'm just curious. I don't know the answer. I wonder.
I kind of
Does she
feel
question her family, her parents' love for her.
The only reason why, because I said the same thing. I said the same thing about like if Trevor was here, and I really do believe Trevor liked her in the way he portrayed. In the way he portrayed, right?
With or without him, like he had a girlfriend too, right? What was his?
Yes,
what was his?
but what I'm saying is, I think he was more believable than Jimmy.
And so, yeah, she chose somebody out of jealousy and like wanted to get picked over Jess. And so now, and
this was a competition for her. She chose the person who had the most to lose out of the situation and still chose her. So, and Rachel is saying she agrees with you. I feel like he's trying to talk himself into loving her. And I was that Iva Trini. I hope I'm saying that right. Sorry.
I think it's
yeah, agreed. Chelsea honestly doesn't feel it. She needs to trust her gut. And I agree, except for then, like, I feel like she makes things up. Like, I feel like she makes things up, though, right? Like, and I'm not sure she wouldn't do that, even if he did love her. I feel like she's that deep down insecure, because the fact that she even chose Jimmy, like, I would be feeling totally different if she chose Trevor, and we know now that he had a girlfriend and he did all of this. I'd be like, Chelsea, follow your gut. You're right. He doesn't love you, blah, 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 blah. Right? But she chose Jimmy because to her it was a competition.
Yeah. And you know what, though? What if she doesn't really love Jimmy, right? Because like, sometimes you point the finger on the things that you're feeling insecure about because you're doing the same thing yourself. That maybe she's trying to convince herself with all the I love yous and I need you and I want there for you and all those things.
It's not her type. That's probably why she climbed on top of him, because she was like, well, let's see if the sex is even good. Oh, okay, the sex is good. He's big, whatever.
I don't know. I don't remember what she said.
She said the sex was good and that he was big and blah, 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 blah. So I think she was trying to find little things to make this seem like a prize, because it's obvious he's not even her type. Again, so she chooses somebody who is not her type and who clearly doesn't love her, and clearly only to win a competition against who she felt like was I don't want to say superior, but the prettier person in the situation.
Yeah. With Chelsea is just exhausting. Like later on this episode when they're having the argument, are we going to talk about that now? Or are you going to wait to go and see it?
No, we're going to talk about that now.
Okay. So she has this argument. How did it start? Hold on.
Well, it was the next day after they meet his parents and sister, and he says, yesterday was very important part of the process for him, because he needed his parents right? Like we had heard that, like his mom loved, like, liking her was a big deal.
She said, and her mom even said, like, oh, she stole my son's heart. Like she wants to believe into it.
Yeah. So she bought into it, and she seemed to like her, and he said that they like her, and that was a big thing for him. So he's good, like he can move forward. And then he reiterates that he loves her. And then she brings out that he went out the night before.
I was so cranky with you this morning. Like, she's
so passive aggressive too. It's like not even like direct. It's like, well, you notice I was like, did you notice? Like, do you see that I was cranky with you? And he's like, kind of like, well, I was trying to like ignore that because we had a good day yesterday, and I'm trying 100%. To have a good day with you today.
always trying to have a good day. Apparently, what the problem was is that he had a friend who had a birthday who that
Right.
he went for an hour and a half to go and wish them happy birthday and have one drink. I don't know if he actually invited her or not, but she was already getting ready for bed. She didn't want to go with him.
Right.
He went. Apparently, I think it's a lie. Mackenzie sees him there and says that he was there with girls or something like that. We already know that two of his friends are female.
Mhm.
And so we didn't see her feeling a type of way about it because we only saw her be like, well, I have male friends too. Like, like
Mhm.
I'm fine with it. Like we only saw her being cool about it, but apparently she wasn't cool about it. And they must have had another argument about his friends being a woman and that she feels insecure about that. And then he came home. Nothing happened between them, apparently. And she's causing a fight because apparently now he's a partier and he sold her a dream. And
Mhm.
like now he's not living up to the dream that he sold her. And that being that doesn't go out and doesn't party all the time, that he's like staying in, which he does. Like, he's
Right.
not a party boy at all.
Right.
And what it's reminding me of the way that she wants him to be. Like, if this was reversed
Mhm.
and Trevor was the one that was telling her that she can't go out to see her friend for an hour
Mhm.
and a half, that
Mhm.
she has to stay home and can't go out and
Would
do
have a heart
anything.
attack. She would have a
Pardon me?
heart attack. She would have a heart attack.
No, but like how we would be reacting to a man deciding to cage this woman like this. Like, it would be a big problem that we weren't that she wasn't allowed to have her freedom. And so it's a really, really weird how she just wants him to be caged in the house and just loving up on her the whole time and can't have his own life and he can't do anything outside the house. That's like, it's just weird.
I mean, it literally became the conversation was like levels of controlling, like that continue to escalate. And the control factor is there because she is insecure. And the things that, and I'm not even saying that the things she's insecure about, she shouldn't be insecure about, but she pretends that it's not an insecurity, that it's him when he's being open and honest about his feelings, about what he wants, about what has happened. You understand what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
instead of saying, oh, well, that makes me uncomfortable, so just understand that that's probably going to make me uncomfortable. No, instead she's passive aggressive, and in the back end it's like, you lied to me, you did this, somebody saw you, because she just, it's trying to like pick a fight and find things that she can utilize against him. And I agree with you, I think she lied. I don't think Mackenzie saw him directly. Either she like saw
Or
it
if
on
she
social
did, because he
media.
doesn't know what Mackenzie looks like. So
Right.
maybe she did, and like he was with his girlfriends, and she was like, "Yeah, he was there, like laughing with two girls." Maybe,
Well,
maybe,
I mean, he says he was there with his frat brothers and
and
their
their girlfriends,
wives.
yeah,
Right,
wives.
or whatever it was. So maybe the frat brothers got up to go get drinks, and Jimmy was there with the girls. We know Jimmy is Jimmy likes to hang out with the women, so he probably was there chatting them up. So maybe, yeah, maybe Mackenzie saw him, but she was insisting she saw him with the friend that she had met a few days before, that he apparently told her off camera. So we do find out that he did tell her, but he told her off camera that he slept with this girl. So he was open and honest about that. He slept with the girl.
You were right though, eh? Remember,
We
I was like,
did.
I think
We
it's one of
did.
those two girls that he slept with, where she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
We called a lot of things that happened in this episode. But he does say, well, I told you that off camera for a reason.
Yeah, he
Um,
seemed a little bit pissed that she brought it up on camera because I
right,
think he would want to protect his friend. His
right,
friend would agree to be on camera to meet her and be part of the process in that way, but
right.
she did not necessarily agree to having her sex life be displayed on Netflix, and
Right.
like that's like I think it's pretty nasty. Like that would almost be a deal breaker for a
I
relationship
think
for
that was the
me.
deal breaker. I think it was the deal breaker. I think he's saying the deal breaker was that she was saying that he wasn't in love with her, but I think the deal breaker was how she was reacting to like the friend and him sleeping together in the aftermath, bringing it up on camera, and then basically drawing a line in the sand and saying you can't be friends with them anymore. And I do think that was the deal breaker personally, because and it was like kind of like he was using the do you not think I love you? Because at this point, like, if she's gonna say yes, right? So you put her in the corner to say a yes, and so I don't really think it was that part that was the deal breaker.
Well, and so they do have that bit of the argument where he's like, "You don't think I love you?" And it's like, "Well, then you know what? I think I'm gonna have to take a step back from this." And I was like, "Oh my god, are they over?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, get out, Jimmy, get out of this horror film." Like I could see it going really dark, you know. But anyways, then he goes to the other bathroom and he's brushing his teeth, and then she comes and follows him and brings more of this like annoying negativity and this fight that he's just like, just let it be done then. You don't like who I am. Right. That's basically what it is, right? Yeah. You thought that she said that he always told her that he likes going out to wine bars. Apparently she never heard that he said that. And he like, what's the problem with going out to a wine bar every once in a while? Like, get over it, Chelsea. It's really not that big of a deal. And he does call her out and saying, like, you know, maybe you're just acting this way because you're drunk. So I'm wondering if that's also a bit of an issue. Like, maybe she drinks at home and then like she starts spiraling even more, especially if he's not there. And then she picks a fight with him. Because
that's what he said. He said it sounded like she was drunk and bringing these things up. I think he was giving her a little bit of an out, like, oh well, you're drunk right now saying these things, but so I think he was giving her a little leeway, but I think those were her, you know, what is that word about, like a non-sober person telling the truth or whatever it is. Yeah, so I do think that she was putting her real feelings out in a nasty way, but I also think she was being controlling, because I'd be the first person to tell you I am 90% a homebody. I like staying home. I like drinking at home. I was like, I need somebody that will like stay home, drink wine with me, and watch TV, and like 90%, okay, maybe 80% of the time, I don't have a problem. So I get it. I would not pick a partner who would like want to be smoking and drinking all the time, right? No. Or going out all the time, right? No. But if you
like, they're not even 30 yet, let these people go out.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to go out though, like, and you're not like, you have to come with me, and because I'm not feeling like, I'm already in my PJs under my electric blanket, and you're like, you listen, I'm just gonna go out for my friend's thing and I'm gonna stay an hour and come back, and you actually stay an hour and you actually come back, I don't give a damn. I don't care.
100%. And like, do you know what though? Like, why isn't she looking at the fact that it makes him a kind friend? You know what I mean? Like, I want to show up for my friend. A lot of people, birthdays mean a lot to them. And like, you know, they would hope that because you're in a relationship, that doesn't mean that you're not going to show up and say happy birthday to me. I've known you not longer than you've known this woman for 3 weeks or whatever. It's like, you know, it shows that he has good character, I would say, in the fact that he wants to like make you, both of you, happy. You know, I mean, like, listen, I want to say hi to my friend for her birthday, but I don't want to stay long because I know that you don't want me to go right now. But I want to celebrate my friend's birthday, and then I'll come home right away.
Right. I mean, do I agree with her that he maybe should have asked her if she did want to come? It would annoy me if even if I'm in my PJs and under my electric blanket, if you say, hey, you know what, my friend is having a dinner, like, and of course I would want this earlier,
but I think he didn't want her to come.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, yes, red flag, because my whole thing is, regardless of where I am in my bed, why are you not asking me if I want to come out with you so I can decline? Allow me to decline.
No, he should have asked her, but I think that he didn't want her to say yes and come. So
I would, because I would listen if I was in my bed in my PJs under my electric blanket, watching my show, chatting to my friends on my text. I would be like, no, but bring me back some cake. You better bring me back some cake. If I don't get cake, we won't have a problem.
the problem.
Otherwise, I'm not going to care. But that's when that is, that is the work that I've done on myself. I'm not saying when I was like her age or younger, I wouldn't have cared or been frustrated. But I do feel like what would have helped, which I never had, was my partner saying, I'm going to go for an hour and come back, and actually go for the hour and come back, because I've had it where they're like, I'm only going to go for like
And
a
they
short
end up at
time.
Sarah Ann's house at 5:30 in the morning.
And they end up being, oh, well, we went to this person's house and we had to go here to get this drink. And so now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning when they come back. No, that to me is where I'm going to give him credit. Because she never said he didn't do that. He literally did what he was supposed to do. Like you said, he was a good friend to the person that he has been friends with. And he respected his partner enough to go and come back.
There's no fight there.
No.
There's no fight.
Oh.
She's so insufferable. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Like I'm pretty much done with her. Like
I'm absolutely done with her. I was with you, hoping amongst hope, like, oh, it's over. Oh, it's over. The next morning, they chat. He didn't leave because he said the last time when they had the argument, he left and went back to his apartment. But this time, he went and slept on the couch and he didn't leave. Okay.
I hate though the whole argument, like, you left when things get hard, you leave. And it's like, that's not what actually happened here. He needed a space from you because he would leave for good if he stayed. You know what I mean? Like, he needed space. And I hate when they're just like, oh, you just like, it's get hard. Like, that's not hard. That's not working. It's not working. It's not things getting hard. You guys don't get along. He doesn't understand what you need because you need so many things, and you keep on moving the goalposts with like what he needs to do to prove himself that he loves you. And it's just never going to work because it's never going to be enough for you. And I feel so bad for Jimmy. Like, he's not a catch or whatever, but like, I feel like she is like beating him down. Like, he just seems like his spirit has stolen. Like,
he's in a no-win situation. I think this situation made him realize that. He's like, I think I've done everything. Like, I think I've been good here. Like, I could be worse. You got Jeremy sleeping with Sarah Ann. Well, if he did, I'm
speculating.
Sure he probably would know better than anybody. And I like did what I was supposed to do. Told her and went and came back and was there. And I've been open and I've been honest. And he's like, oh, maybe I just can't win here. Maybe this is a unwinnable situation. And so they do chat, and he says like he was prepared to do this. And like you said earlier, I think he was prepared to go all the way to the island, maybe say yes. And that after her saying, oh, she doesn't think he loves her, he's out. And I think it's just a reasonable probably excuse that he's going to use.
Okay, thank you for giving me that this is the life raft that I was hoping for, that you're giving me the out here that I can leave and nobody's going to think that I was a jerk here. Okay. Yes. You don't think I love you? I've been telling you guys I love you. It's over.
He's like, I gave all I could give. And her saying she doesn't believe it's just too much. It's the line. And he's like, I gave as much as I can give. And she said, she can't believe he's throwing in the towel. Like, what is he doing? And I'm like, you can't, like, now you're gaslighting him, girl. Come on. Like, take some responsibility.
Well, and he's like, this in the morning, he's like, I introduced you to my family. And we had like such a good day. Like isn't that enough for you to realize that I'm serious about you? And then she starts crying, and I'm like, why are you crying? Like, I don't want to see that she's crying again. and then like the throw in the towel because things because we had a hiccup. That's not a hiccup, okay?
Not a
That's
hiccup.
not a hiccup.
That was a nasty fight. I'm sorry. I would have been done after that.
I
You've known each other 2 weeks.
would not. I would not. I would be done. I mean, I wouldn't be in this relationship with this person. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be doing it at all.
No,
Um, and one thing though, he says that I'm like he's brainwashed or something because he's like, it's so hard not to forgive her. Like, why does he want to forgive her? It's very weird to me that like he just looks over at her and he can't help but forgive himself but forgive her. Why?
I keep saying I think he really does think that like maybe like this experience
what it
was
is.
meant to find his person, and he found her because like he cares for her. Like, I'm not even saying he doesn't care for her, because you have to have some sort of caring for her to even do a lot of the stuff that he's doing. I'm just saying that
I would be repulsed because he goes in for a kiss after, and I was like,
that's what I'm saying.
attractive to me. Like,
That's what, like, I would be, the ink would have happened so long ago.
it would have probably happened at when he first the run to him out of the pods. That would have been the immediate ick.
That's what I'm saying. And he has, like, if that didn't give him the ick, then he's kept going, and he's like, evolved into whatever we've morphed into. And so I'm just saying, I think he's convinced himself that this process, and again, I applied for this process, so I get it. I can see feeling that you felt like this show was going to introduce you to the love of your life. And you know that, and you're a realist. So you know that doesn't mean that the relationship will be perfect. It's a rushed process. There will be hiccups. And then on top of that, you got tied between two different people, and you maybe didn't start off in the right manner, and you maybe blame yourself for that a little bit, right? I think he's truly convinced himself that this is all part of the process. I think he has truly convinced himself that this is all part of the process.
Yeah, and these are just hiccups, but like, it's true love. It's worth it. Ugh. This is the best it gets. The best it's gonna get.
No,
because I don't think with the security of marriage that she's gonna be secure.
No, not at all.
He thinks it's gonna help her, but like she needs so much work. And she came on, I saw a little clip of her on social media being like, and yes, I do go to therapy. And I'm like,
fire your
for them.
I have to fire your therapist because yes, they are not having you do enough self-work. If you came on the show and allowed your insecurities to flare up this amount, this much, you have not done enough self-worth work.
Self-worth work.
You have not. You have not.
Yeah, she is a
and
lot.
This is from somebody who has been through therapy to work on themselves, to work on their confidence, who's had social anxiety. Like, I have had social anxiety for as long as I could remember, right? And you grow up in Caribbean, people, they think you're standoffish, and why can't she be like her sister? My sister's a lot more jovial, a lot more of a people person. So they look at you different. You don't want to talk to anybody, but I literally, talking to people used to make me want to vomit.
Sorry.
Let alone being a public speaker or whatever, right? So a lot of work, a lot of work has to go into that, right?
Maybe therapy is not like traditional therapy is not what she needs. Maybe she needs like a coach, like a life coach, because life coaches usually talk more about building up your self-worth and your belief and in yourself, and like and how to to give yourself the love that you need. Like, that's more language of a coach. And so maybe she needs like a coach, a life coach.
Yeah. Or I don't want to shit on her friends, right? But
I don't want to put that on friends though. Like, honestly, it's exhausting always having to like build somebody up.
Right. But I do think having a sect of friends that pour into you is helpful too. Like, Like whether you got, like gonna be honest about how you feel about what the person is doing, but also like you are the best at this, you are the best at that, like we can see, and vice, and you having to be able to give that back to the friend, right? Because
Mhm.
relationships are work. Doing that type of work also aids in you being able to do that type of work in a regular relationship.
Mhm. 100%. And she definitely doesn't have the relationships around her that are giving her, that kind of feedback.
Mhm.
And I don't think if she even realizes that she's, needy,
Oh,
and
no,
because like
no,
clingy really struck a chord. And I'm like, girl, you are clingy. Let
there
the
is
man breathe.
no self-reflection here. None. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Zero. Nothing. There's nothing for her to come on and be like, well, I have a therapist. No, because if I was your therapist, I would be like, yeah, I saw you on TV. We have work to do. Do not tell people you're seeing me. We like, or fire her as a client. I'm sure her therapist was like, you know what? I need to really let her go. I don't know. This is not working.
But I'm
And
sure she
probably
has an
now,
attachment to her therapist as well. Like she's
right.
probably building, what's it called? Attachment.
Therapy?
What it's a therapist word, I can't remember, but some
Mm.
sort of, okay, I'll think of it in a second. Sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, so they do then, like, because of the crying and she basically saying, oh, woe is me, you're leaving me again, and he does like, oh well, do we agree not to do this to each other? And she's like, yes, we won't do this. And she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, he's like, okay, like I accept it. She's like, well, you also like, honey, you also should be sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
I
and she's
understand.
like, well, you also should be sorry, right? If I'm sorry, you should be sorry too.
Right.
And then
And
starts making jokes that I'm like too soon. Like
yes,
I'm like, you're not at that joke level with this yet. So don't pretend like you're cool with it.
now,
I
but
forgot what
they
she
do.
said, but
Yeah, I think I have one, but they do agree not to go after each other's character. He does agree to keep going, and they reiterate they love each other. She brings up his outfit and that, oh, he shouldn't wear those pants because
I
he
thought she
looks
liked the
too
pants
good.
because they're straight jogging pants.
Yeah, that's what she said. He looks too good while when she's angry at him. And he does say, like you said before, that it's hard not to forgive her, but he does. And I'm just like, this is not how you start a relationship. Anybody watching Love is Blind, this is not how you start a relationship. Sorry, I don't care if it's an accelerated process. This is not how you start a relationship.
And don't you don't have to settle for that.
No.
If it isn't working, it isn't working. You don't have to put yourself through it. I know that you agreed to the process, kind of like how AD is like, I'm agreeing to going through with this, but I don't think that Jimmy needs to go through it. It's torturous. It's abusive. It's emotional manipulation, in my opinion. Just he needs out. He needs out.
Yeah.
And do you think that he's gonna say yes at the altar? Like, do you think he's gonna be?
Do I think they get into the altar? No, I don't think they even Rachel says Chelsea went from saying she doesn't want a relationship like this to begging him not to end things. It should. I'm telling you, no matter, he can't win. He can't win. This is why he can't win. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't even think that even if she had a secure person, that she, like, a person who knew that they loved her, even with her damn flaws, she needs to do more work. She needs to do more
Like,
work.
what if he wanted to do? Like dive on the spike foot? I like, I need you, Chelsea. Like, what does she want?
You know what, she would be so icked out though. I think she would. I think she would be so icked out if somebody was just like,
I don't think she gets the ick.
You don't think so?
I think that she, like, anybody that's giving her attention, she's into.
Hmm. Oh my god.
I
And
mean, maybe she gets the ick, but like, I feel like the bar is low. Like,
The only reason I'm saying that is because I just wonder how much she would believe that somebody actually likes her like that, and so I think she would find ways to be icked out by them actually liking her.
no, when she wouldn't, when she like, I don't think she'd give the ick because that means that they'd stop doing that.
Yeah.
She was.
Oh my God.
Show their undying love for her.
I feel so bad. This is why I will never like Chelsea. She has me feeling so
For Jimmy.
like,
We don't care about
why?
Jimmy. We
Why?
don't care about Jimmy.
I will never forgive you for this. Rachel said, I said this before. I see this being a Nick and Danielle. Let's hope they don't get married, though, Rachel. Like, please, like, let's. Like,
I mean, Danielle was also quite insufferable. It's pretty
she
similar.
was like literally, and the difference is Nick. I feel like loved Danielle. I feel like Nick loved Danielle, like for real. And then there's but so much you can do. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
there's but so much you can do. You will like that's what I'm saying. There will never be a way to make that type of person feel whole. Never. Never.
Yeah, she needs a relationship therapist.
Yeah.
And a life coach.
Yeah.
She needs to work on her self-work.
Tools. Lots of tools. So next we do have AD and Clay. And AD is sitting with her mom, Jacqueline.
I love her mom.
Oh my God, I love her mother. Meanwhile, I love both of their mothers, but I loved AD's mother. And she's amazing. And they're in the restaurant and she's sitting with her mom and she shows her the ring and she's like, dang, I don't even have to get my glasses out the ring. She's like, she's excited for her to meet Clay, and she's like, she's excited to meet him. He's like, yeah, he's cute and he's a looker. And then she does say that she's still trying to get used to this scheduling thing. Like yesterday he was supposed to come home, and so afternoon she like planned a whole DIY arts and crafts home date thing and wrote out 25 reasons she thinks he's amazing from her heart, and then put out all the snacks that he likes and a card. And she said they're all still on the island because he never got to come home in time.
And this is the thing, is I believe that AD will work on it because I do think she has an attraction to him. I do think that there is love there for him. But I do think that there's an emotional element that's missing, because I don't know if it was I think it was before Clay got there, or after he leaves for a moment at some point too. But she says like, isn't he so good looking? And it went to him being so good looking, but like, I would want to be sharing qualities about him, and like, he's so caring and he's so loving and he takes care of me and he makes me feel like beautiful, like whatever, like more ways that she makes her feel, as opposed to be like, isn't he so good looking? And it's like, yeah, what else?
Yeah, it's hard because then it's like even her mother sees what I see with them, like the potential, and it fucking sucks that it has to be about potential. But it's like there's so much potential there.
Clay is not one of this DIY activity, AD.
But he's not ready. Like he's just not ready. Just not
at all
ready. Ugh, it's so annoying.
I don't know why people are coming on this show. I'm just tired of people coming on this show that actually just don't want to get there. You know, it's obviously it's been interesting. It's been dramatic. It's, it's something to watch that I'm like, wow, like look at these dynamics. But like, I do want to watch a bit of a love story, and there's not one here really, because at least one of the people in the process aren't ready for the relationship that this process would require. And it's just kind of like we're basically wasting AD's time here because we know that he's not going to be ready for this relationship, this marriage.
He's just not. He's not mentally there. So Rachel says Clay was wrong for that. It's the one thing to not come home, but it sounds like he didn't even communicate it ahead of time. Exactly. That's the problem. It's like it's one thing to not come home, because again, she seems to like understand that there's going to be that potential, but for her to do all that work and then you didn't say ahead of time, hey, like I'm not coming home. So maybe she didn't do all of that, or she did it knowing that it would be seen at a certain point, but not at the point that she was thinking.
What I don't understand is like, okay, like we learned that he has Airbnb properties and then he also does some sort of sales.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he does tech sales. He does Airbnb apartment rentals, and he does boats and ski rentals, which kind of makes sense of why he's saying he's going from here to here to here to here to here. Does absolutely make sense then why he's all over the place at all sorts of times a day.
You know what? You're all over the place, but
Yeah.
like I work a gazillion different jobs.
Correct.
And one of them takes me out of being in communication with people for long periods of time. And I
Right.
still feel as though I'm more communicative than Clay is when I'm not available because I'm on an airplane for 10, 14 hours, you know? Like,
Mhm.
I'm still able to, you know, oh, okay, there's Wi-Fi at this airport when we're downstation. I'll run and connect to Wi-Fi just to make sure that, like, if I got stuck somewhere or like something happened or going to be later for something, that I communicate as soon as I know that something was changing in whatever my intended plans are. And it's
Right.
just the fact that he doesn't choose to be communicative. People are very, very, very forgiving. They're very understanding, especially AD. She's been very understanding up until this point. I would be irritated and being like, well, I guess you don't like me that much because you don't care for me to not be worried or not be waiting on you. Like, you obviously don't consider my feelings and you don't really have any respect for me. So I think I'm gonna have to bounce. Like, that's where I would have probably gone. But
Right.
she's been like, okay, I'm trying to be understanding here. Like, why, if you're not going to be home at 6, you're going to be home at 9, you just send her a text being like, oh man, like I ended up going out for drinks with this colleague or with this potential client, and like it's taking a little bit longer than I thought, but like it's a really big sale, so don't wait up for me for dinner. I'll be home soon. I'll bring you a gift, like, or something, or just being like, just say something.
It's that extra step that when you are and as Rachel says here, strong emotional bond, when you are bonded with somebody that you think, oh my god, they're going to be so upset, like that I'm late or that I forgot or or right, like, or even in the aftermath, right, you just like, shit, I messed up. That's what's missing here, because if you felt like that, you would think first. And I know that some people are like, oh no, well, people make mistakes and you can't expect. But my whole thing is, if you care about somebody and truly care about them, you would
Time
think,
even.
you would think about them. You would think, you know what, let me reach out to that person and let them know what is going on. No matter how
There is not one business meeting with married men, we'll say, that
Mhm.
there's no understanding for, like, oh my god, I gotta call my wife, like, I'm gonna be late for dinner. Everybody would understand that it's very reasonable to be considerate to your person that's at home.
Anybody, you know, I have to call the wife. Like, I'm on my way, but I have to stop and call my fiance. So I'm, you know, I'll be a little late. Or you know what? I'll be running a little late because I have to stop home and get something to my fiance. But hang tight, I will be there. Not one person would ever feel like how unprofessional, or would ever feel like shit, like they're ignoring me, like I'm not going to give them my business. They would be like, oh my god, like how lovely is he thinks about his fiance and he's like making sure that we're okay.
Not like he has a wife. Like, oh, I would never have known.
Right. It just is, it's so frustrating because I feel like if he did made those little steps, then I could feel, and I don't think she doesn't feel, but I would feel like, well, I think he could get there. I think he could get there. But so we do see Clay roll in, and he does say that he's a little jammed for time, and
Yeah, but like the fact that he leads with that, it's
yeah,
also really frustrating to me.
yeah,
Like being like, oh, like I know the big conversation is probably the fact that like I'm always like working in business and like and I'm busy and I'm like not home that much. And it's like, why don't you make the times when you are home a little bit more meaningful then? You know what I mean? Like do
I
something extra, be like, I wasn't home all day. So how about we spend the whole day? We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Like we'll just spend a whole day together to make up for the fact that like I've been working so hard. Something to show that you
easy,
care.
easy. It's so easy. I hate it because I feel like it's so simple. And when I talk to other women, they also feel like it's so simple. But yet men don't ever seem to think that these things are that simple.
Like even it would be as simple as the next day just being like, okay, I don't have much time today, but I want to give you a foot massage for all the time that I have to spend with you. We'll just talk. I'll make you a tea. I'll give you a foot massage, and we can just have a really nice 30 minutes, and then we'll go on with our day. Whatever. Like 30 minutes, you can squeeze out 30 minutes in a day.
Yeah.
One day. One day.
Clay, come on now. Clay,
And
come
I'm
on.
wondering if this is what he adopted from his father, not being accountable,
That's it. And accountable.
like emotionally accountable,
Mhm.
partnership accountable. Like he just seems as though his father must have just like did what he wanted to do, goes where he wants to go, says what he
Right.
wants to say, hangs out with who he wants to hang out with, without
Right.
having seemingly any sort of care for his mom and how she was feeling. And I think
Yeah.
his mom put up with it for 24 years,
Yes.
but uh I don't know if it was like the first 7 years were actually all hunky dory, and then you know what I mean. Like maybe they were, but I think that he might have learned from his father to not be emotionally present for his mom and for his partner. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree. I think that is the big issue there.
and you know what though, without having that was what makes it easy to cheat, right? If you
Yeah.
don't have any sort of emotional connection and respect and understanding and empathy, if you don't have that for your partner, he doesn't care. He doesn't care, right? It's all about him going out and making money and what he is doing. He has no care about what she's doing at home while she's waiting for him. She
Yeah.
should just suck it up because he's making money for the both of them. Whatever. I feel like that's the same mentality that his father might have had. And with having that mentality, it makes it easier for you to cheat because I'm going to do what I want. I'm horny right now. I got a girl right here right now. Like, I'm going to do that
The,
because
like you've ever watched Love and Basketball, right?
I love
I
basketball.
know the dad in there. That I think that's the dad in there, right? That's the dad in there. The only thing is he did convince his son that he'd never cheat on his mother. But I'm pretty sure that's exactly the viewpoint he had on it. Like she should just be good that like either I come home or like I
At
give
least
her
I'm
this.
coming home.
Yeah, yeah. Ugh. Ah.
Like I do like Clay, but he is not ready for a relationship. I think he needs to do a lot of work on himself as well
Mhm.
because he does not seem to care about the other person, and that is really dangerous in a relationship.
I agree. I agree. So, but they do say that they connected on the entrepreneurial stuff because even her mom says, "Oh wow, you guys match so well," and even Rachel Pro's out here. They bonded on being business minded, which I do get it because um I think perception is a lot, and I do feel like a lot of times black men are portrayed as if they don't um have jobs and they don't how do you say it? Like they're not up and coming and they're not And that's never been the experience, right? Like, so most of the men that I know are very hardworking. The Black men I know are very hardworking, very business minded, but I think people want to portray it as if it's the opposite rather than it's like a regular thing, right? And so here we find out that that is the fact that they both, she's in real estate, but then she also runs a club, and he has all these jobs, that this bonds them, right? As if it's something irregular to
Well,
do.
I can understand it bonding them, or like her saying like this bonds us, the fact that we want to work hard to make money and like,
Mhm.
have a lot of different ways and avenues to be gaining money. Like, okay, yes, that's something that we can connect on. But it doesn't actually give you an excuse for you not to want to make time for each other, right?
Right.
Like, and I don't think that them being I think her saying that like, oh yeah, we're business minded and like that's what we connected on. I think that is kind of her it's taking the hit and being like, I do, yeah, we do connect on that. So I guess I have to understand that he's not going to be here all the time. And
Right.
I don't agree with that. That
Yeah.
just because you're business minded and you guys are both doing a lot of things, that there's not enough time for you to be considerate. It just doesn't go hand in hand for me.
Right. Right. I agree. Because, like I said, like, just because somebody has a steady job does not give them an excuse to
Be
not
disrespectful, be
their
inconsiderate. Like,
time, not be considerate of you and your feelings, and all of that stuff. Um, so she does ask what he feels like uh about
sorry,
the marriage.
I'm just reading Rachel's comment though, and it actually made me laugh.
Rachel says, "What is wild for me is that any other season Clay would be the villain, and but there's so many to choose from." I agree. I do see people trying to make Clay the villain. I've seen whole posts about how he's terrible and he's going to cheat on her. He's preparing her to cheat on her. And when I see a man who is not ready, and the reason why he's not ready is because he needs therapy, and the reason why he needs therapy is because his father screwed up his emotional behaviors by taking him on cheat runs.
Yeah.
That effectively ruined a 24-year marriage with this man's mother. That does not make him a villain because he was a child.
Yeah, victim for sure.
That makes him a victim, and he needs therapy. And I do see him trying. I just don't think it's enough. And I'm realistically being out of the situation, able to see he is not ready. But I understand AD trying to give him the opportunity to be ready, right?
Yeah.
So he does go, like, when she asks him how does he feel about marriage, and he does kind of go over his family situation, and he does feel like, and I said this, he does feel like he was meant to be with AD. And I said this at last time because, like, that whole scene with him by the ocean, I think he realized what kind of catch he got with AD. Like, shit, she's amazing. She's amazing. I got a great one. I'm gonna fuck this up.
Well, it's just like, I know that I'm not emotionally in the right place to be able to give her what she deserves. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. And so her mom, Jacqueline, is like, well, that was your parents' marriage. And think about it. To be fair, 24 years it's a long time to last, regardless of what they went through. She's like, I've been divorced, and so I get it. And her father's no longer here. But you can't allow what happened to them mess you up. And that he sabotaging. I'm like, thank you for saying it to him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you have the opportunity to do what you think we could have.
I did like that because, a lot of things, times you hear parents will say like, oh, I want to give you what I didn't have. And so like, that's what they can really do. Like you can become the parent that you always wanted to have, or that you wish that you had, or that you wanted to see, or that your friends and friends had. Like, I liked her suggesting like, hey, be in the relationship that you wish that your parents had. I like it.
So don't be materialistic. Get your education. Continue to hard work. I'm not saying to put the hard work to the side. But she said, so he does like say that he has to get up. So he gets up, but he does say to AD, oh no, he did say this before he left. She did say this to him before he left, that AD said she never thought she would hear her say this, but she said that she would follow him anywhere. And she says to both of them, nothing is perfect. And he does get up, and then she says to AD, I really like him. And they both tear up, and she's like, I think he's got substance. And AD gives her mom so much props for bringing her to, and you could see, watching this conversation, you see why AD is who AD is.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. And so she does tell her thank you for, being who she is, to make her the person she is. But they do talk about his downsides. And she said, listen, I really do believe I could follow Clay over a cliff and he would be there to catch me. And they hug and they talk trust. But her mother reiterates, if he does not think you are all and it and enough for him, then he is not your guy. And she's like, but I do think he's worth the fight. So it's like, stay in this process. I agree with you. I see what you're seeing. But at the end of the day, understand that if he does not say yes at the altar, fuck him and keep it moving. I loved it. And Clay returns and he listens more because her mom talks more about, him not self-sabotaging. And he said he needed to hear that, but he agrees he's going to fight for Amber. And I love that entire conversation. I did.
It was definitely a great conversation. I don't know what Clay is going to do, but I hope for both of the moms that he tries.
Yeah, I agree. So we do
so good.
We do see it in the next conversation that they're talking in the kitchen, and she's meeting up with her sister and her friends, and I guess they're gonna go look at bridesmaids dresses and all this stuff, and she does show him the wedding colors that she picked out, and he's like, oh, but I don't want to wear that. She's like, you don't have to. I'll be wearing white. You can wear whatever you want, black, whatever. And then they do talk about the marriage license and that they have to fill it out, and so they do fill out their marriage license together. And it's hard for her because on it says her father is deceased. And again, he brings up his father's cheating. And he wonders if he's really ready. Apparently, he says he's embarrassed because he went back and watched the show. Did you catch that? That he said he went back and watched Love is Blind, and he saw so many men who were really, really and truly ready to do this process. And really realizing what he got himself into. And he said that he's worried.
I don't know if I can believe this, right? When you're going through casting for these shows, you have 100 interviews, and they ask you so many times, at the end, are you going to say yes? Are you going to propose? Do you think it could work? Have you seen the show before? What kind of couples do you think?
Well, I think he definitely didn't see the show, and that's probably why they loved it.
Oh, they're just let's throw them in. I don't know. I think that's really
kinetic. Have you seen Married at First Sight?
No.
Yes.
Really. Okay,
they absolutely was like, oh, he's never seen our show. Oh,
God.
Throw it. Yeah, that's how they are.
To torment some poor black woman that's going in with an open heart.
Or white woman, because you never know with the black
never know, but
more than likely 90% of the time, yes. And so he does say, he's worried he's not there. She does say she believes in him and she wants him to believe in himself. And she does make it clear, though, that he says no at the altar.
It's done. Love it.
And there will be no long-term fiance. That's not what she signed up for in this process. She believes in this process. And she needs to be a wife on the other side or they're over. And he's like, whoa, that's heavy. And he said, well, it's hard for him since he's not confident. And he needs that bit of confidence to get through things, that bit of ego. Listen, I will say that he is at least a little bit more self-aware than Chelsea is. about his
Oh,
manner.
100%. Like, yes, I agree. Well, I think the difference is though that Chelsea is just so insecure that she's just can't be self-aware.
Yeah.
At least he is self-aware, and so I think he's pretty confident. You know.
Yeah. And so he knows he's been leaning on her, and that's part of the reason why he's embarrassed and that he's worried that he's leaning on her too much. She said she understands that he needs to lean on her right now. She's okay with doing the heavy lifting. She does say, though, again, there will be points where I'm gonna need to lean on you, and you're gonna have to pick up the slack. But she's ready to do this up front, and he agrees. He hopes that at some point that he is as confident as her. I'm going to say, based on this conversation, he's not ready. 12 days left. I don't know if he could get ready.
0%. Like,
I
feel bad.
Rachel says, I wonder what season he watched. Certainly not season 2, 3, or 5. I mean, maybe he watched 4 because that would have been the season prior to.
Yeah, 4 and 5. Like 5 might not have aired yet, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. So 5 and 6, I think, were recorded at the same time, or 6 and 7. I think I think 4 and 5 were recorded at the same time, but I think it's possible he went back and watched 4 because that should have been out by the time they were recording this. And there was a really nice black love story out of that. And even if you went back and watched season 1 and watched Lauren and Cameron, that was a great love story. So I can see that as well. So but yeah, no, he's not ready. So on to Amy and Johnny. There is a brief scene of them playing games. We are getting very brief scenes with them, which is concerning. But we do see they meet Amy's dad finally. Amy's dad's name is David, and they meet in a beautiful garden. And he does ask Johnny about himself, and Johnny says he's from New Jersey. He's in software sales. And he, again, talks about the life that he envisioned. He basically envisioned he was going to work hard now, but not crazy hard, but hard enough that he could retire early. And that he's really in love with Amy, and that he, wants to take care of her, and he wants to have, this fantasy life with her in the future. And we do see Amy's dad say that he prayed that Amy would find a person to care for her in the manner that he had to care for her when he had to go pick her up from school when she was being bullied and all that stuff.
Oh my God. I did get a little teary-eyed when her dad was talking about how much he loves his daughter and how much he's been praying for her and her relationships. And like, I just thought her dad was really sweet. I don't think that he feels that Johnny's the one for her, but I think that he is open to her because she's showing that she wants to pursue this relationship, and so he's supportive because I know she's really cares about what he thinks and wants his support and blessing. And Johnny does ask if he does. If he could have her hand in marriage, and he said yes, like he was willing to support that. So, I thought her dad was really, really nice. A really nice man.
I think it was a beautiful scene. I'm glad that he got the blessing. I'm still not sure if they're going to get married.
Me neither.
and that's the crazy part about it. There's no drama here, except for that I'm not seeing it yet. I'm not seeing the trigger that we're watching this beautiful love story evolve, that we're going to see these two walk down the aisle. They're going to say yes and live happily ever after. There's still no fairy tale here. There's still no fairy tale here. And so we do get...
They didn't talk about it this episode, but I'm still wondering about like the whole like not sleeping with each other without like her being on birth control. Like, have they figured out some alternatives?
Glossed over it. So either they're glossing over it or they glossed over it and edited it out. I don't know. There was a lot with Chelsea and Jimmy, so maybe they glossed over it, and then they had to get to the meetup. And so we do see that the couples in little bit of different arrangements meet up, and the girls are chatting at first. And they discussed Jeremy and Laura, and she said that she's not getting mad at Sarah Ann, even though she feels like she's rude. But she said it wasn't her that she agreed to have a commitment with, right? And she
Mhm.
said she's mad at him. He was the one that made a commitment to her. She said both at this point she feels he never liked her. She and she moved out, and he hasn't reached out. She says, um, and so then he arrives, and she's like, "Oh shit."
And he still arrives with an attitude. I
He
can't
runs with that
stand him.
attitude, and he says that he did try to reach out to Jimmy, and she sent him nasty messages and refused to give him her address so he could send her flowers. And I'm like, well, I believe the nasty messages. I'm not sure about the flowers. I'm not sure about the
You
flowers.
can only say that, like, oh, well, you were rude to me, so I'm not going to send you flowers now.
Right, right, right. And
He's
so
so horrible to me.
yes,
Mm,
yes. He says he's done. She
good.
can't talk to him that way. And I said,
Yeah,
oh, good.
good.
A couple done so that we don't have to deal with them. And so Trevor does show up, and Chelsea is drooling. And she admits he's definitely her type.
Oh my god, yeah. What did she call him? Like, ooh, he's beefy.
Mm-hmm. So they don't delve too much into Chelsea and Trevor because Jessica and Mackenzie show up, and Jimmy does give Jessica a church hug, and Chelsea, you can see, is a little uncomfortable, and she said she's uncomfortable to the girls. And then Jessica does go and sit to the side with Laura, and she says that she's has feelings and is very conflicted still about Jimmy. And then they talk about Laura's situation. Apparently, she stopped wearing her ring, and at some point, Jimmy and Jessica meet at the little barbecue buffet, and he says that he doesn't want this to be like an ongoing situation. So can they chat? Because he's uncomfortable, but he still has a lot of feelings about the situation. So they do go off to the side. They sitting in front of the lake and they're chatting, and it ends up her giving him advice because he's kind of like talking about his relationship with Chelsea, and she's giving advice on navigating his relationship with Chelsea. And she said, well, don't take this as advice from an ex, take this as advice from her friend. And I'm like, are you friends? Because I'm not seeing where you and Chelsea are friends. But that's what she said. So he does confront her a bit about the way she reacted to him in the pods. And she said she only reacted to him that way because he was totally silent on that letter that she felt like was to her future husband, who she thought was him, and he was dead silent about it. So it was hard for her. And that she cried after finding out he told Chelsea, I love you. And he does apologize for making her cry. And she asks him how he really felt about her. And he does say, like, he was totally, like, really up there with her. And even at this point, she was still his number one. And that he intimidates her, though. And she's like, well, don't be intimidated. Like, I think we can move past this. So, what did you think of this conversation?
At some point, I did get teary-eyed with
Mhm.
this conversation just because I'm like, I think I think that Jessica, like, she came out at it really kindly, in a different way than I would think that maybe like Sarah Ann would come to a similar situation like this. She does say to him, like, "Be good to her." Like, she's my Chelsea's my friend, and like, I love the fact that she didn't go in being like, "See what you missed," even though he does bring it up, and she actually she swallows it and means like, you know what, like when I saw you, and she's like, I practiced how I was going to shake your hand, but like everything went all out the window because I still felt something for you. And like, I'm the one that, lost my breath when I saw you. And so I think that she was honest. I feel like from my perspective, he must be like, oh my God, it would just been so much easier, this relationship. Like, she's not hot all the time and like, yelling at me and saying that I need to do this. Like, she didn't give him, and she wasn't mean to him at all. And she could have been a little bit mean. you know, because
Yeah.
like he did lead her on and she did share a really big piece of her heart, and he just didn't really have anything to say to her about that. And she could have been a bit mean about it, but she was, I thought, was sweet, and it shows how she probably would handle a lot of situations. And he's probably thinking like, man, I might have made a mistake, because like even if it didn't work out with Jess, it just would have
It's
been
like
probably would have been easier.
it's like you went into the pods like, oh, coming out of the pods, Chelsea was all this and she was so kind and this, and now she's the opposite. And then you went out of the pods thinking Jessica was a bitch and to me, and now she's so sweet and kind to you. It's like, fuck, did I make a mistake?
I mean, I think he did make a mistake in terms, because he does say like, I did love you, or like you were the one, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got himself locked into that relationship with Chelsea when, I mean, I guess it's the Megan Fox thing and the fact that she has a child, which kind of just like scared him out of his actual feelings. But like, I don't know. I don't know if Jess will take him back though if he breaks it off with Chelsea at some point.
I
Like,
think that's why she was saying it. Like, don't take this as an ex conversation and me like trying to get back with you. I'm saying this because I care about her. I'm her friend. I'm not really sure if like she's really friends with her. But
like
I
talk outside the pod probably like
correct,
today, anyways.
correct.
Well, we have seen little clips of her hanging out with Harry Jowsley. Do you know who Harry is?
Yeah, he was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh yeah, yes.
Like I don't really know about him, but
He was on the original Too Hot to Handle. He dated Francesca for like 2 years, I think, after the fact. He's from Australia. He's done, I think, one other reality show. So Too Hot to Handle, Dance with the Stars, and there might have been one other thing that I saw him pop up on.
okay.
And like, is he on X? He's on Perfect Match or X on the Beach now?
Oh, I don't even know.
I'm wondering if they met. Did Jessica maybe went on Perfect Match maybe, and they met there? Like, I don't know, but yeah, he's like, I don't find him attractive, but he's tall apparently.
Yeah, they were trying to hook him up with his dancing partner. It was disgusting because she was like so much younger than him. Anyway, so that's all I know about him. But yes, I did see the pictures, and there people are trying to figure out the timing of when she was with Harry, and at some point. So I felt like this conversation was a good conversation. I did not care for him bringing up his problems with Chelsea to her, because first of all, I don't feel like he should put that on her, and second of all, I just think it was a little inappropriate. But
yeah, but I don't think she'll say anything to him like, yeah, she told me that you guys are having lots of problems. Like, yeah, I don't think she would bother doing that. I think she knows. I think she just like no, she has more self-worth than Chelsea does, and so I don't think she'd go hit low like that.
Yeah. So that is the end of episode 10, guys. We will be back tomorrow for episode 11. And these couples, man. So where can the folks find you? Which is where we'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll be over at Reality Realness with 3 S's, 6 p.m. Eastern, to talk about episode 11 of Love is Blind, season 6.
And as always, you can follow me on Entertainment in Color everywhere. I will be back on Friday with our Traders US recap and review with Miss T-Joy and Janelle Michelle. And then I'll be on vacation next week, guys. So there might be a few little days where I have to figure out when we're going to talk about these last few episodes of both the finale of Traders and the finale of Love is Blind. So we will get that together and let you know for next week. But otherwise, see you tomorrow for our recap. Thank you, Rachel. And who is it? Oh, I forgot the person's name.
Rachel.
Ivy Trini.
And Ivy Trini.
For joining us. Yes. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys, for joining us